Welcome back. So it's day 2 of the Section 194 inquiry into Public Protector Mkhwebane's fitness to hold office. Yesterday, Mkhwebane's legal team argued her suspension was unfair. The first witness is expected to be a legal expert who'll outline the role of the Office of the Public Protector. For more on this, we're joined by reporter Lindsay Dentlinger. Lindsay, good morning. A very interesting day 1. Really, what they were stuck with was a procedure, but particularly Section 194, subsection 3A, seemed to be quite a talking point here, where many were discussing whether the president, in fact, had followed procedure insofar as suspending the public protector. It was not so much his powers. He indeed does have powers, everybody agrees. But Advocate Dalimpofu was saying, but the timing of the suspension is that which is problematic. Talk to us about all that took place yesterday insofar as this is concerned.
Yes, Mfundo, so we were expecting just an opening statement, and it turned out to be very a lengthy discussion, really, as you said, very central to those arguments, the suspension of the public protector, Dalimpofu arguing about the timing of it, but more importantly, even though this committee has no powers or discretion to decide on something like a suspension of the public protector, Dalimpofu arguing that this committee couldn't distance itself from the effect that the suspension has on this proceedings. In fact, he went so far as to say, by Busisiwe Mkhwebane being suspended, she had been sabotaged and shackled in terms of preparing for this inquiry. She had been locked out of her emails for over a month, and so not able to receive documents that she needed from her legal team to be able to prepare, and so Dalimpofu not happy that the committee wants to adopt the position that the suspension is really out of their ambit, saying that they couldn't ignore the fact that it would have a bearing on these proceedings. I should add, though, that the UDM leader, Bantu Holomisa, also of the opinion that Parliament should obtain an independent legal opinion on this matter, on the effect of the suspension on the inquiry. He said he feared that the inquiry wouldn't be able to unfold as expected while this issue of the suspension was hanging over the committee's head, and also Khanif Hendricks of Al Jamar saying that the committee should try to intervene in some way and try to convince the president otherwise to lift the suspension. The legal team for Busisiwe Mkhwebane also saying that we couldn't ignore the role that the National Assembly Speaker Nosiviwe Mapisa-Nqakula has had in terms of triggering the suspension. So really a lot of the arguments here yesterday about the suspension, and also the Public Protector informing this committee that despite the announcements by the Public Protector's Office regarding withdrawing litigation currently before the courts, that she would still be approaching the Western Cape High Court in 2 weeks' time to challenge the suspension.
There's clearly a lot of issues that were ventilated, but does it really mean today will really be a proper start to day 2, which we're meant to hear from at least a legal expert on the functions of the public protector? Do you see that getting underway, or they'll possibly start off where they left off yesterday?
It's very difficult to say, Mfundo, as we spoke about this yesterday. This is really uncharted waters for Parliament to hold an impeachment inquiry, and not too much is being shared about this program. The rest of the witness list, for example, is still being kept under wraps. We only know about this constitutional expert, who Hassan Ibrahim, who is expected to set the scene today in terms of the role of the Public Protector's Office. But after him, we do not know about the rest of the witnesses that are to come. Although the chairperson of this committee, Richard Janchi, did indicate late yesterday as they were wrapping proceedings that he would start the session by responding to some of these issues that were raised yesterday regarding the suspension, for example, and other housekeeping matters that need to be ironed out. So it's anybody's guess. It's currently again load shedding here in Parliament, as was the case yesterday, which resulted in a tiny delay to proceedings starting at 10 o'clock while they waited for the generator moderators to kick in. But as I say, we expect the chairperson maybe to deal with a few housekeeping matters that he may have been discussing with Parliament's legal team overnight. And then, as you've mentioned, we expect that constitutional expert to set the scene for us in terms of the role of the Public Protector's Office.
All right. No, most certainly will be another interesting day in Parliament. Thank you very much, Lindsay. That's our reporter, Lindsay Dentlinger, out in Parliament monitoring those proceedings for us. Now,